Let me tell you something. The way you start your morning decides how you live your life. You keep saying you want success, but you wake up scrolling. You hit snooze 5 times. You check notifications before your own goals. And then you wonder why nothing changes. Listen to me carefully. Winners win the morning first. If you control your morning, you control your life. So let's talk about the 5 habits that will change everything. Stop waking up randomly. Stop rolling out of bed like life is an accident. Set a reason to wake up. Before you sleep, decide what tomorrow morning is about. When your alarm rings GTOP, no snooze, no negotiation. Because every time you hit snooze, you're telling your brain, my goals can wait. And success doesn't wait for anybody. You wake up and the first thing you do is give your attention to strangers. Social media, messages, drama, you're feeding your mind garbage before you even feed it purpose. For the first 30 minutes, no phone. Protect your focus. Your morning is sacred. Guard it like your future depends on it, because it does. You don't have to run 10 miles. Push-ups, stretching, walking, anything. Movement creates energy. Energy creates momentum. Momentum creates results. You say you're tired. You're tired because you don't move. Activate your body and your mind will follow. Before the world talks to you, talk to yourself. Read something powerful. Listen to something motivational. Write your goals. Remind yourself who you're becoming. If you don't program your mind, the world will program it for you. And the world doesn't care about your dreams. Stop starting your day with easy stuff. That's comfort. Attack the hardest thing first. The thing you've been avoiding. The task that scares you. When you win early, you build confidence. When you delay it, you build stress. Successful people don't delay pressure. They dominate it. Let me say this clearly. Your morning routine is your success blueprint. If you waste your mornings, you waste your life. You want to change your life? Change how you wake up. Stop sleeping through opportunity. Stop scrolling through your potential. Stop wasting the most powerful hours of your day. The morning is where discipline is built, and discipline is what separates average from unstoppable. You don't need a new year. You don't need a new month. You need a new morning. Starting tomorrow, wake up with intention. Protect your focus. Move your body. Feed your mind. Attack your biggest goal. Do that for 30 days, and your life will not look the same. Stop wasting your mornings. Win the morning, win the day. Win your life. This is peak mentality. Every morning when your alarm goes off, you are faced with a decision that looks small but carries massive consequences. That sound is not just a reminder to wake up. It is a test of discipline. Most people fail that test before their feet even touch the floor. They hit snooze. They roll over. They tell themselves, just 5 more minutes. But those 5 minutes are not harmless. They are a signal to your brain that comfort comes before commitment. And when comfort comes first, success comes last. Understand this clearly. The moment you hit snooze, you are practicing delay. You are rehearsing hesitation. You are teaching yourself that it is acceptable to ignore a commitment you made the night before. Because when you set that alarm, you made a decision. You told yourself, tomorrow I will wake up at this time. The alarm is simply holding you accountable to that decision. When you ignore it, you break trust with yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of confidence. Confidence is not built by hype. It is built by keeping promises to yourself. If you cannot keep the simplest promise, waking up when you said you would, how can you expect yourself to handle bigger responsibilities? How can you expect to build a business, transform your body, master a skill, or change your life? Discipline is not developed in grand moments. It is built in quiet, early morning battles that nobody sees. The snooze button feels small, but it represents something bigger: negotiation with weakness. When the alarm rings, your mind instantly looks for comfort. It says, "You're tired, you deserve rest, it's too early." But that voice is not wisdom, it is resistance. Growth always meets resistance. The question is not whether you feel tired. The question is whether you act despite feeling tired. Winners do not wait to feel ready. They move anyway. There is power in immediate action. When the alarm rings and you sit up instantly, you send a powerful message to your brain. I am in control. You create momentum before the day even begins. You prove to yourself that your goals matter more than your temporary comfort. That single action changes your internal identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who tries. You start seeing yourself as someone who executes. Most people underestimate how much momentum matters. If you start your day with hesitation, the hesitation follows you. You delay getting out of bed, then you delay starting your workout, then you delay beginning your work. By the time the day is halfway over, you are already behind, and the root of that delay started with one decision: snooze. On the other hand, when you wake up immediately, you stack a win. It may be small, but it is real, and small wins build unstoppable momentum. Another hidden danger of snoozing is mental confusion. When you fall back asleep for short intervals, your brain re-enters fragmented sleep cycles. You wake up groggy, unfocused, and irritated. You think you are gaining rest, but you are actually losing clarity. Immediate waking may feel harder in the moment, but it leads to sharper energy and better mental performance throughout the day. This is not about sleep deprivation. It is about intentional living. If you need more sleep, go to bed earlier. Take responsibility the night before. Success in the morning begins in the evening. Prepare your body properly. Put your phone away earlier. Create a routine that supports your wake-up time. But once that alarm is set, the decision is final. No debate, no compromise. There is something powerful about standing up the moment the alarm rings. It feels decisive. It feels strong. You shift from being controlled by comfort to controlling your choices. That habit carries into every other area of life. You become quicker to act. You become less tolerant of excuses. You start identifying as someone who does hard things without drama. Over time, this identity changes what transforms your life. Not motivation, not inspiration, identity. When you repeatedly wake up without snoozing, you reinforce the belief that you are disciplined. And disciplined people produce results. They show up consistently. They execute even when they do not feel like it. They do not allow emotions to dictate action. The morning is the first battlefield of the day. If you lose there, you start the day defeated. If you win there, you start empowered. It is that simple. The alarm is not your enemy. It is your opportunity. It is the daily line between who you are and who you are becoming. So when it rings tomorrow, do not negotiate. Do not bargain. Do not think. Move. Sit up. Put your feet on the ground. Stand up immediately. Let that be your declaration that your goals are serious. Let that be proof that you are done playing small. The path to discipline does not begin with something dramatic. It begins with getting up when you said you would. The first 30 minutes after you wake up are the most powerful minutes of your day. They set your mental direction, your emotional state, and your level of focus. And yet most people give those minutes away without thinking. The alarm goes off, and before their feet even touch the ground, they reach for their phone. Notifications, messages, social media, news, emails. Instantly, their mind is flooded with other people's priorities. And just like that, the day no longer belongs to them. When you grab your phone first thing in the morning, you are putting yourself in a reactive state. You are allowing the world to tell you what matters before you decide what matters. Every notification is a demand on your attention. Every scroll is a distraction from your purpose. You may think it is harmless, but it is training your brain to seek stimulation instead of direction. It builds a habit of consumption before creation. Your mind in the morning is highly impressionable. It is fresh, clear, and sensitive to input. Whatever you feed it first will influence your mood and focus for hours. If you start with comparison on social media, you plant seeds of insecurity. If you start with bad news, you plant anxiety. If you start with random entertainment, you scatter your focus. By the time you actually try to concentrate on your goals, your mental energy is already fragmented. High performers understand something simple: attention is power. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. If you give your attention away immediately, you weaken your ability to direct your own life. Protecting the first 30 minutes is not about being anti-technology. It is about being pro-focus. It is about deciding that your goals deserve priority over notifications. Think about what happens when you check your phone first thing. You respond to a message, then you see another notification, then you scroll for just a minute. That minute turns into 10. Suddenly you are comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel. Or you are reacting emotionally to something you cannot control. Your heart rate shifts, your mood shifts, and you have not even started your own day yet. When you protect the first 30 minutes, you take back control. You give yourself space to think clearly before the noise begins. Instead of reacting, you choose intention. Instead of scrolling, you breathe. Instead of consuming, you create. That space builds mental strength. It strengthens your ability to focus without constant stimulation. There is also a neurological reason this matters. Social media and notifications trigger dopamine spikes. They give your brain quick rewards for minimal effort. Over time, this conditions you to crave easy stimulation. Then when it is time to do deep, focused work, your brain resists. It wants more quick hits. It wants distraction. By avoiding your phone early in the morning, you prevent that cycle from hijacking your productivity. Imagine starting your day differently. You wake up and sit in silence for a few minutes. You stretch. You breathe deeply. You think about what you want to accomplish. You visualize success. You read something that strengthens your mindset. You write down your top priorities. In that environment, your mind becomes sharp and intentional. You are not scattered. You are directed. Protecting your first 30 minutes also builds self-respect. It says, my time is valuable. It says, my focus is not for sale. Most people treat their attention cheaply. They allow apps and algorithms to dictate their mood. When you resist that urge, you prove to yourself that you are in control. And control builds confidence. This habit may feel uncomfortable at first. You may feel the urge to check your phone. That urge is not weakness, it is conditioning. But every time you resist it, you strengthen your discipline. You become less dependent on external stimulation and more comfortable with internal clarity. That mental independence is powerful. It allows you to think deeply and act strategically instead of emotionally. Another benefit is emotional stability. When you start your day without outside noise, you set your own emotional baseline. You are less reactive to negative news or stressful messages because you have already grounded yourself. You approach problems calmly instead of impulsively. That calm mindset improves decision-making and reduces unnecessary stress. Protecting the first 30 minutes is not about perfection. It is about priority. It is about choosing growth over distraction. You can check your messages later. You can scroll later. The world will not collapse in 30 minutes, but your focus might collapse if you do not guard it. Your morning is sacred territory. It is the launch pad for your productivity, your mindset, and your results. If you allow distractions to invade that space, you weaken your foundation. But if you guard it fiercely, you strengthen your entire day. The people who achieve extraordinary results are not superhuman. They simply manage their attention better. They understand that success begins with small, controlled habits. Protecting the first 30 minutes is one of those habits. It is a declaration that you refuse to let noise control your direction. When you wake up tomorrow, do not reach for your phone. Reach for your purpose. Sit with your thoughts. Set your intentions. Decide what matters before the world tells you what matters. Those first 30 minutes can either scatter your focus or sharpen it. The choice is yours. The first 30 minutes of your morning determine the mental direction of your entire day. When you wake up, your mind is in a highly receptive state. It is clear, uncluttered, and ready to be programmed. Whatever you allow into it during that window shapes your mood, your focus, and your level of discipline. That is why protecting those first 30 minutes without touching your phone is not a small habit. It is a powerful decision that separates reactive people from intentional ones. Most people wake up and immediately grab their phone. Before they even stand up, they are scrolling through notifications, checking messages, reading news, or watching short videos. They think it is harmless. They think it only takes a few minutes. But in reality, they are handing control of their mind to the outside world. Instead of deciding how they want to feel or what they want to focus on, they allow random content to dictate their emotional state. When you check your phone first thing in the morning, you instantly move into reaction mode. You are responding to someone else's message. You are absorbing someone else's opinion. You are comparing yourself to someone else's life. You are letting external information shape your internal state. That habit weakens your ability to think independently and act with intention. Your brain in the morning is especially sensitive to stimulation. Social media apps and notifications are designed to trigger dopamine, the chemical linked to pleasure and reward. When you scroll, you receive quick bursts of satisfaction with very little effort. Over time, this conditions your brain to crave instant stimulation. Then, when it is time to focus on difficult tasks that require deep concentration, your brain resists. It wants easy rewards, not meaningful work. Protecting the first 30 minutes of your morning helps you break that cycle. It forces you to begin your day with control instead of craving. Instead of chasing stimulation, you create stability. Instead of reacting, you decide that shift may seem small, but it builds powerful mental discipline over time. Another reason this habit matters is emotional protection. News headlines, social media comparisons, and negative messages can trigger stress or insecurity before your day even starts. If you begin your morning with anxiety or comparison, that emotion can quietly influence your behavior for hours. You may feel distracted, irritated, or unfocused without fully understanding why. The root cause may simply be what you allowed into your mind in the first few minutes. When you avoid your phone for the first 30 minutes, you give yourself space to set your own emotional tone. You can wake up calmly. You can breathe deeply. You can stretch, pray, reflect, or plan. You can remind yourself of your goals. You can build confidence before facing the world. That intentional start strengthens your emotional resilience. There is also a focus advantage. Attention is one of your most valuable resources. When you scroll through multiple apps, your brain jumps rapidly between different types of content. This constant switching reduces your ability to concentrate deeply. It trains your mind to expect constant novelty. By protecting your first 30 minutes, you protect your ability to sustain focus throughout the day. This habit also reinforces self-respect. When you decide not to touch your phone, you are telling yourself that your priorities matter more than notifications. You are declaring that your time is valuable. That sense of self-control builds confidence. You start to see yourself as someone who is disciplined, not easily distracted. It is important to understand that this is not about rejecting technology. Phones are useful tools. The problem is not the device itself. It is the timing. If you begin your day by consuming information, you delay your own creativity and productivity. But if you begin your day by thinking, planning, or creating, you strengthen your leadership over your own life. The first 30 minutes can be used for activities that build momentum. You can review your goals. You can write down 3 priorities for the day. You can read something that strengthens your mindset. You can exercise lightly to activate your body. You can simply sit in silence and visualize success. These actions may seem simple, but they compound over time. At first, you may feel an urge to check your phone. That urge is normal. It is the result of habit and conditioning. But each time you resist it, you build mental strength. You prove to yourself that you are capable of controlling impulses. That self-control carries into other areas of life, including diet, productivity, and decision-making. Over weeks and months, this one habit can significantly improve your clarity and output. You will notice that you feel calmer in the morning. You will find it easier to start important tasks. You will feel less mentally scattered. All of this begins with protecting a short but powerful window of time. Your morning is a foundation. If you build it with distraction, the rest of the day becomes unstable. If you build it with intention, the rest of the day becomes focused and productive. The first 30 minutes are not just about avoiding your phone. They are about choosing control over chaos, intention over impulse, and discipline over distraction. When you wake up tomorrow, resist the automatic reach for your device. Sit up. Take a breath. Think about who you want to become. Decide what you want to accomplish. Claim your attention before the world claims it. That small act of protection can reshape your mindset and, over time, reshape your life. The third habit is simple, but it is powerful. Move your body immediately after you wake up. You do not need a full gym session. You do not need perfect conditions. You need movement, because movement creates energy, and energy creates momentum. If you start your morning physically inactive, your mind follows that same sluggish pattern. But when you activate your body, you signal to your brain that the day has begun and that action is required. Most people say they feel tired in the morning. They assume the solution is more sleep, more scrolling, or more time in bed. But often the real problem is inactivity. When you lie still after waking up, your body remains in a low energy state. Your heart rate is slow. Your muscles are relaxed. Your brain is not fully stimulated. The longer you stay in that state, the harder it feels to get going. Movement breaks that cycle instantly. When you do something physical within the first few minutes of waking up, you shift your physiology. Your heart rate increases. Blood flow improves. Oxygen reaches your brain more efficiently. Your nervous system activates. This biological change affects your mental state. You feel more alert, more focused, and more capable. It becomes easier to think clearly and take action. You do not need an intense workout to get these benefits. 10 to 15 minutes of push-ups, squats, stretching, light jogging, or even a brisk walk can create a powerful shift. The goal is not perfection. The goal is activation. The goal is to prove to yourself that you can move before excuses begin. Movement in the morning also builds discipline. When you choose to exercise before checking your phone or starting work, you prioritize self-development over comfort. You are telling yourself that your strength matters. You are training your mind to do something challenging before the day gets busy. That early discipline spills into other areas of life. Physical activity also improves mood. Exercise releases chemicals in the brain that reduce stress and increase feelings of well-being. When you start your day with movement, you reduce anxiety and improve emotional stability. Instead of beginning your morning feeling sluggish or overwhelmed, you feel grounded and strong. Another powerful benefit of morning movement is confidence. When you complete a physical task early in the day, you build a sense of accomplishment. You have already achieved something before most people have even started. That small win boosts self-belief. You begin the day knowing that you followed through on a commitment. Consistency in movement also strengthens your identity. If you move your body every morning, you start seeing yourself as someone who values health and discipline. Identity drives behavior. When you identify as a disciplined person, your actions align with that belief. You are more likely to make better food choices, stay focused on work, and maintain productive habits. Morning movement also sharpens mental performance. Exercise improves cognitive function, including memory and concentration. When your body is active, your brain becomes more efficient. This makes it easier to tackle complex tasks and solve problems throughout the day. Instead of dragging yourself into work mode, you enter it already energized. Some people resist morning exercise because they think they are not morning people. But discipline is not about personality. It is about decisions. You do not need to feel excited to move. You need to move regardless of how you feel. Waiting for motivation is unreliable. Taking action creates motivation. Another excuse people use is lack of time. But even 5 minutes of focused movement is better than none. You can do body weight exercises in your room. You can stretch beside your bed. You can take a quick walk outside. The key is immediate action. The shorter the gap between waking up and moving, the stronger the habit becomes. When you delay movement, you give excuses space to grow. Your mind starts negotiating. It tells you that you will do it later. But later often turns into never. By acting immediately, you bypass that negotiation. You prove that you are stronger than your resistance. Movement also builds resilience. Physical discomfort in the morning trains you to handle mental discomfort later. When you push through a set of exercises while your body feels tired, you practice persistence. That same persistence helps you complete difficult tasks during the day. Over time, this habit transforms your overall energy level. You feel less dependent on caffeine and external stimulation. Your body adapts to early activation. You wake up expecting movement. Your mornings feel structured and purposeful instead of random and rushed. The body and mind are deeply connected. When your body is weak and inactive, your mindset often follows that pattern. When your body is strong and energized, your mindset becomes sharper and more confident. Morning movement strengthens both. Starting tomorrow, do not stay still after the alarm rings. Stand up and move. It does not need to be impressive. It needs to be consistent. Activate your muscles. Raise your heart rate. Breathe deeply. Let that movement signal the beginning of action. When you control your body first thing in the morning, you strengthen control over your mind. And when you control your mind, you control your direction. Movement is not just physical. It is a declaration that you are ready to take charge of your day and your life. Before the world speaks to you, you must speak to yourself. That is the power behind feeding your mind first thing in the morning. If you wake up and immediately allow outside voices to fill your head, you lose control of your internal direction. But if you intentionally put something powerful, focused, and purposeful into your mind, you shape your attitude before the day has a chance to shape it for you. Your brain is most impressionable in the first hour after waking up. It is transitioning from a resting state into full awareness. During that period, it absorbs information more deeply. Whatever you expose it to becomes the tone setter for your thinking patterns. If you allow negativity, distractions, or meaningless content into your mind, you are building a weak foundation. But if you choose growth-oriented material, you are strengthening your mental structure. Feeding your mind does not mean random information. It means intentional input. It can be reading 10 pages of a book that strengthens your mindset. It can be listening to something that pushes you to think bigger. It can be reviewing your goals and reminding yourself of your long-term vision. The key is that you are actively programming your thoughts instead of letting them drift. Most people underestimate the power of repetition. The thoughts you expose yourself to daily become beliefs. Beliefs influence actions. Actions determine results. If every morning you remind yourself that discipline matters, that your goals are possible, that your effort counts, those ideas slowly become part of your identity. Over time, you start acting in alignment with those beliefs without even thinking about it. On the other hand, if you start your mornings consuming random content, you are building scattered thinking. You may not notice it immediately, but your focus weakens. Your priorities blur. You begin reacting to whatever appears in front of you instead of acting with intention. Feeding your mind also builds mental resilience. The world is full of distractions, opinions, and criticism. If you do not strengthen your mindset daily, those external pressures will influence you more easily. But when you begin your day with positive reinforcement and purposeful reminders, you create a mental shield. You approach challenges with clarity instead of confusion. Another important aspect of this habit is self-talk. Before anyone else influences your mindset, you should define how you see yourself. That might mean reviewing affirmations, writing down your strengths, or reflecting on your progress. It might feel simple, but it reinforces confidence. When you consistently tell yourself that you are disciplined, capable, and improving, your brain starts to accept that as truth. Feeding your mind in the morning also improves focus. When you review your goals early, you are directing your attention toward what truly matters. Instead of drifting through the day reacting to tasks, you operate with purpose. You know what you are working toward. That clarity reduces wasted time and unnecessary stress. This habit also strengthens emotional control. If you wake up and immediately expose yourself to news or social media, your emotions can shift unpredictably. You might feel anger, envy, or anxiety before you even begin your work. But when you start with intentional mental input, you stabilize your emotional baseline. You choose your mindset instead of inheriting it. It is important to understand that this practice does not need to take hours. Even 15 to 20 minutes of focused mental development can create a noticeable difference. What matters is consistency. When you make it a daily ritual, it compounds. Small daily improvements in mindset lead to major long-term changes in behavior. Feeding your mind also prepares you for difficulty. Every day will bring challenges. There will be setbacks, unexpected problems, and moments of frustration. If you start the day mentally weak, those challenges feel overwhelming. But if you start mentally strong, you handle them with composure. Preparation changes perception. This habit also separates consumers from creators. When you begin your morning by intentionally developing your thoughts, you shift into a leadership mindset. You are not waiting for inspiration. You are building it. You are not dependent on random motivation. You are cultivating it. Over time, this routine strengthens identity. You begin to see yourself as someone who invests in personal growth daily. That identity influences other choices. You are more likely to avoid distractions, pursue learning opportunities, and maintain productive habits. The mind is like a field. Whatever you plant in it will grow. If you plant discipline, focus, and belief, those qualities expand. If you plant doubt and distraction, those expand instead. Morning is the ideal time to plant intentionally because the field is clear. When you wake up tomorrow, do not let the world speak first. Choose something that strengthens you. Read words that challenge you. Listen to ideas that push you forward. Write down your goals and remind yourself why they matter. Set your mental direction before the noise begins. Your results are not only shaped by effort, they are shaped by thought patterns. And thought patterns are shaped by daily input. Feed your mind with intention, and you will build a mindset capable of handling pressure, staying focused, and executing consistently. When your mind is strong, your actions become powerful. And when your actions are powerful, your life begins to change. Most people start their day with what feels easy. They open their laptop and check small emails. They organize their desk. They respond to minor messages. They complete simple tasks that require little effort. It feels productive, but it is often just comfortable. Meanwhile, the most important and difficult task of the day sits there waiting. The longer it waits, the heavier it feels. This is why attacking the hardest task first is a life-changing habit. Your hardest task is usually the one that creates the biggest progress. It might be building your business, studying for an exam, making a difficult phone call, working on a major project, or starting something you have been postponing. It is uncomfortable because it demands focus, courage, and energy. That discomfort is exactly why it matters. When you delay your hardest task, you carry it mentally all day. Even while doing smaller tasks, part of your brain knows that something more important is unfinished. That creates low-level stress. It drains your mental energy. You may look busy, but internally you feel pressure. The day becomes heavier than it needs to be. On the other hand, when you face the hardest task first, you remove that weight early. You prove to yourself that you are capable of handling difficulty. That builds confidence instantly. Instead of spending the day avoiding pressure, you spend the day operating from momentum. There is a psychological principle behind this. Your willpower and focus are strongest in the morning. As the day progresses, decisions, distractions, and fatigue slowly reduce your mental energy. If you save your hardest task for later, you are trying to do the most demanding work when you are mentally weaker. That makes success less likely. But when you use your peak mental energy on the most important task, your chances of finishing it increase significantly. Attacking the hardest task first also changes your identity. You stop seeing yourself as someone who avoids difficulty. You start seeing yourself as someone who confronts it. Identity shapes behavior. When you believe you are the type of person who handles tough challenges immediately, you naturally act with more courage and discipline. Avoidance feels safe in the moment, but it builds anxiety over time. The longer you avoid something, the larger it appears in your mind. Small tasks grow into giant obstacles simply because you delay them. When you take action immediately, you shrink that fear. You realize that the task is manageable. Often the anticipation is worse than the work itself. This habit also improves decision making. When you choose the hardest task first, you are prioritizing impact over comfort. You are asking, what will move me forward the most? Instead of, what feels easiest right now? That shift in thinking gradually affects other areas of your life. You begin choosing workouts over laziness, learning over entertainment, progress over distraction. Momentum is another powerful benefit. Completing a difficult task early creates a sense of accomplishment that carries through the day. You feel energized and confident. Other tasks seem easier by comparison. Productivity increases naturally because you have already proven that you can handle pressure. There is also a discipline factor. Discipline is not about doing what is convenient. It is about doing what is necessary. When you consistently choose the hardest task first, you strengthen your ability to act despite discomfort. That ability is critical for long-term success. Big achievements require sustained effort in challenging conditions. Some people hesitate because they fear imperfection. They wait until they feel fully prepared. But clarity often comes through action, not before it. By starting the hardest task immediately, you give yourself time to adjust, improve, and refine. Waiting for perfect conditions usually leads to stagnation. Time management improves as well. When you eliminate the biggest task early, the rest of your schedule becomes flexible. If unexpected problems arise later in the day, you are not stressed because your most important work is already done. This creates a sense of control instead of chaos. The key is preparation. Before your day begins, identify the one task that would make the biggest difference if completed. Do not choose the easiest option. Choose the one that challenges you. Then commit to starting it first before checking emails, before handling minor details, before getting distracted. At first, this habit will feel uncomfortable. Your mind will suggest easier alternatives. It will try to convince you that you should warm up with something simple. But each time you ignore that voice and begin the hard task anyway, you build strength. That strength compounds over time. You do not need to complete the entire task in one session. The goal is to start with full focus. Often, once you begin, momentum builds naturally. Resistance decreases because action replaces hesitation. Attacking the hardest task first transforms your day from reactive to intentional. It removes unnecessary stress, builds confidence, and strengthens discipline. More importantly, it accelerates progress. Instead of drifting through busy work, you are making meaningful advancement toward your goals. When you wake up tomorrow, identify your most challenging responsibility. Face it directly. Do not delay. Do not negotiate. Begin immediately. Let that action define your day. Over time, this habit will redefine your results. Most people wake up and let the day decide what happens to them. They react to messages, emergencies, random requests, and whatever feels urgent in the moment. By the time the day ends, they feel busy but not productive. They were active but not intentional. That is what happens when you start your morning without a plan. If you do not design your day will design you. Planning your day with intention means deciding in advance what truly matters. It means identifying your top priorities before distractions appear. When you wake up and already know what must be done, you remove confusion. Clarity saves energy. Every decision you delay drains mental power. When your priorities are already defined, you eliminate unnecessary thinking and move directly into execution. There is a difference between being busy and being effective. Busy people fill their schedules with tasks. Effective people focus on impact. Planning with intention forces you to ask a powerful question. What 3 things, if completed today, would move me forward the most? That question shifts your focus from activity to progress. When you do not plan your day, you are vulnerable to other people's priorities. Emails, calls, and notifications become your to-do list. You spend hours responding instead of creating. You feel productive because you are constantly doing something. But at the end of the day, your personal goals remain untouched. That pattern repeated for months or years leads to frustration. Intentional planning creates direction. It acts like a compass. Even when unexpected tasks appear, you know where your focus should return. You are less likely to drift because you have a clear target. Without direction, energy scatters. With direction, energy concentrates. Another powerful benefit of planning your day in the morning is reduced stress. When tasks live only in your head, they feel overwhelming. Your mind keeps reminding you of unfinished responsibilities. But when you write them down and organize them, they become manageable. A written plan turns chaos into structure. Planning also strengthens discipline. It requires honesty. You must decide what truly matters and commit to it. It forces you to confront tasks you might otherwise avoid. When you schedule them intentionally, you are less likely to postpone them. Your calendar becomes a contract with yourself. Many people underestimate how much time they waste simply deciding what to do next. They finish one task and then pause, unsure of the next step. That hesitation accumulates throughout the day. But when your top priorities are clearly outlined, transitions become smooth. You move from one meaningful task to another without unnecessary delay. Intentional planning also improves time awareness. When you assign time blocks to your priorities, you begin to understand how long tasks truly take. This prevents overcommitment and reduces last-minute pressure. You become realistic about your capacity and more strategic with your schedule. It is important to keep planning simple. You do not need a complex system. Identify 3 main priorities for the day. Write them down clearly. Decide when you will work on them. Protect that time. Everything else becomes secondary. If you complete those priorities, the day is successful. Planning in the morning also reinforces accountability. When you define your goals early, you create a standard for yourself. At the end of the day, you can evaluate honestly whether you followed through. Without a plan, it is easy to justify wasted time because there was no clear expectation. This habit also strengthens long-term consistency. Daily progress may seem small, but when it aligns with your larger vision, it compounds. Intentional days build intentional weeks. Intentional weeks build meaningful months. Over time, this structure transforms results. Some people resist planning because they prefer flexibility. They fear that structure limits creativity. In reality, structure creates freedom. When your priorities are handled, you can relax without guilt. When you know what must be done and you complete it, your free time feels earned. Another key aspect of planning with intention is alignment. Your daily tasks should connect to your long-term goals. If your schedule does not reflect your vision, progress becomes accidental. But when each day includes steps toward your bigger objectives, you move steadily forward. Planning also reduces procrastination. When tasks are vague, they feel intimidating. But when they are clearly defined, they become actionable. Instead of work on project, you might write outline first section or complete research notes. Specific actions are easier to begin. At first, this habit may feel unnatural. You may forget to plan or feel tempted to start the day impulsively. But consistency builds mastery. After several weeks, planning becomes automatic. You wake up expecting to set direction before taking action. The morning is your opportunity to lead yourself. Instead of reacting to circumstances, you create structure. Instead of drifting, you decide. Intentional planning is not about perfection. It is about clarity and commitment. When you wake up tomorrow, take a few minutes to define your day. Identify what truly matters. Schedule it. Protect it. Follow through. When you control your schedule, you control your momentum. And when you control your momentum, you control your growth.